Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I'm starting a new journal inspired by this wall hanging that I made when I had a retail store, which gave me a place to just decorate and hang things up to my heart's content. This has already been cut down once for another project, but I thought I would cut some more from this to make a little journal. I have a selection of papers here. Some of them are old book pages. I love the grungy vintage look, so I've stayed with a palette of just the beige and off-white, basically old book pages. I have a selection of papers that have been brushed with the water left over from my previous projects. It does have a bit of a yellow-green tint, but I believe that's going to be subdued once we start distressing the pages. I think it's one of my favorite that I've ever made. It's got a lot of distressing. This is part of the wall hanging, and it was already put together in pieces. I love doing collage work with fabrics and paper, kind of like the snippet roll. I used to do a lot of wall hangings like that. There's a little pocket here, a lot of little cloth embellishments, a lot of distressing, as you'll see. I'm just gonna flip and just talk to you about some of the materials that I used. I used my distress wash. I used some digitals from my own collection. I used white acrylic paint and some paper tape, lots of ink stamps, and when I printed out a page of cloth images, the backing on it was pretty interesting. It's adhesive, so I decided to print on both sides this time, and I was able to use both sides, which I was really excited about. This has dictionary pages, pretty stationery, all sorts of staining. I love the way this page turned out. I have a lot of negatives in my old photo collection. So what I did was just take a plain piece of paper the same size as this. I glued 4 photo corners onto the paper so that it doesn't damage the negative, and that way you can just slide this in. I love this image. That's from a book that I have cut down to use, and that's an old letter. It's the original. You can see where it's been signed, your friend Carl. I did photocopy that so that I can use it again. Again, just stamping and staining. There is the other part of that letter, dictionary page, lots of postage stamps that I had stamped my Birdsong stamp on and just distressed it and put it in there. Ink stamps. And I love this. That's just a faded printout from my computer, from my collection of mushrooms. Another old letter. Stamping. That's an image that I printed today. That's another one that I printed. You can see I love to make rings out of ink using lids to bottles, or even the top of what I keep my distress wash in. There's some of the paper tape with a stamp on it. So room for you to write or put things in. And there's an old map. A little bit of stenciling you can see there, and more stamping. More stamping. This one has a lot of pages. It's got 2 signatures. I love the way that faded through there. I really like the way that worked out. Have a beautiful day. There's some lined paper that I distressed. And then we're at the second signature. That's a photocopy of a book page. an old music text, and again, just lots of distressing. The picture of the globes, I put that in my Facebook group. I printed it out full size and then tore it in half to make these book pages. So the papers I used to make the pages would have been 8.5 by 5.5. So folded, it's 5.5 by 4.25. And I made the cover just a little bit bigger than that. And the cover is made from a manila folder with fabric sewn onto each side. And then the center, I've got some masking tape with the word center. This was a page of vintage transportation modes. There is a tag with a shoe. These shoes are currently in my dollar digitals on my website. They're fun to use. This felt to me like a nature / hiking / vintage journal, just full of lots of beautiful images. I love this. This is an old photograph. It's from the 1960s. It had a really interesting picture of rocks and water and trees and a bridge. So I just folded that in half and stitched around it. This is a tea bag that Jay sent me. So I distressed it, folded it in half, and sewed it onto the page. There is another part of that same painting that was in the book. This is the book, Cafes and Cabarets of Montmartre. So moving along, there is an old piece of tape. I've been reading about and watching videos about aging Scotch tape. I haven't tried it yet. This is some actual old Scotch tape. So that's glued into place there. Another stamp. And just more beautiful image. This is a napkin. Oh, and in this little pocket here is a guinea feather. I used some masking tape to put that into place. It's just half a pocket. I closed it up. Bear in mind that it is illegal to collect feathers from songbirds. It's different if you're talking about domestic farm birds like chickens. I love the way alcohol ink leaves different shapes when it dries, and this looks like a mushroom. This looks totally like a mushroom to me. More staining, another napkin, and more of the lined paper with some stamped butterflies. This is from a book with clock parts and more stamping. This is masking tape. Love this, the postage stamp, and then an image glued into place. And more stamping, and that is it. There's a pocket here, and then the back has got my stamp and a little bit of moss, artificial of course, sewn into place. In this signature center, the twine is cut fairly short. You could glue some things on this if you wanted to, or leave it like it is. In the center of this signature, I left the twine longer, so you can do with that whatever you would like to, whether it's put charms on that or just cut it down. That is the finished journal. I love the way it turned out. I think it's so pretty. I love all of these crinkly pages. Oh my goodness. And the tie and the cover. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to new subscribers. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you will hang around. We have a wonderful community here, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.